You're listening to Around Comics. 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 You're listening to Around Comics.
From Chicago and Milwaukee and Oak Park and other places unknown, you're listening to Around Comics, the comic culture podcast, where we talk about everything in and around the world of comics. God, I can't even talk. I'm one of your hosts, Brian Salazar. With me, as always, is Christopher Niesman.
Products.
And Thomas Caters.
Hey, how's it going?
What's happening, boys?
I survived Florida. I am back. I made it to apparently an even more fucking insane state in Wisconsin. So yeah.
At least it's not Michigan, where they're trying to kidnap the governor.
Oh, but they were gonna bring her here. So yeah. I had a good little trip last week. Got out of the state. Rode an airplane. That was interesting. Airports are weird right now.
Everything's
weird.
Yeah. The nice thing is that there was no one on the plane trying to talk to me, and I was able to read a lot of comics. And so it's people
convenient.
They sit. It is eyes forward, face mask on, watching your device or reading, and it was an odd airplane experience. You
no breathing.
Yeah. Well, you flew up from Texas, right, Sal?
I did. Well, I flew down to Texas. I drove.
Okay, so you have been on a plane during all this.
I have been on a plane. There were mistakes.
Yeah, odd experience.
I enjoyed the flight. There was like half a plane, half empty, and nobody in my row, nobody in front of me, nobody behind me. It was great.
This was a full, like 2/3 full. They're just Southwest is still doing that empty middle row, which for a single traveler, with just all carry on. I was like third row, B group, but I was just like walk on. It's like, anyone there? And they're like, nope. I'm like, all right. So yeah, I was like third row.
You're
no, there were no boat parades. Interestingly enough, Tori, it was not as Trumpy down there as it was 4 years ago. I was surprised. There were even like Biden-Harris signs in neighborhoods. I was a little shocked.
Well, I went to Michigan
last
weekend. I drove to Michigan and back. My sister
for a boat parade.
For a boat parade, no. Yeah. My sister's 60th birthday party, and so my family and I drove out there and had a wonderful time. It was a beautiful weekend, but it was very Trumpy. I mean, there was there were a lot of Trump signs and very much that kind of thing. Michigan.
Two weeks to go till we have 3 months of insanity and court cases. So it's almost over. Woo! Woo! Hey, Ken Case.
Ken Case is watching.
Ken Case saying hi.
How many people like us on a weeknight?
I love it whenever my boss tunes in.
That would be weird. I don't like it. It was bad enough when my nephew was, watching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but thankfully we actually that's one of the things that we do at work is talk about geek culture and which is kind of neat. I actually pass along TV recommendations that you give me. Which, speaking of, I watched the first episode of Counterpart on the flight. It's
Counterpart or Counterpoint.
Counterpart. It's Counterpart. Counterpart.
Did you
Counterpart?
Well, now you got it's Counterpart. Yeah, it's Counterpart because they have counterparts from the other dimension. Deliberate. It's very deliberate.
It is.
But yeah, I mean,
it definitely picks up as it moves along.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, it's kind of.
Tori
There you go. Exactly. So yeah, I just started it.
And he said he misses me. So I'm
Aw.
you definitely one of the few people I miss at work. There have not been many over the years that I missed.
Dude, I swear to God, a guy was riding a bicycle past me and looked like Mike Budnick.
Oh,
I was like, there's a blast from the past. Tom's like, I have no. You would love this guy, Tom.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, he's Mr. Conspiracy Theorist. You would love this guy.
QAnon.
he was a Trumper for sure.
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely. So it's good. It's good to be back home. It was weird to travel. It's just office still a mess. There's still unpacked clothes, that kind of stuff. It's you definitely vacation from the vacation. It's my mom went down and visited my parents, and mom wanted to be a very motherly. She's fatten up her little boy. Made sure there was lots of bourbon on hand. So
is your dad still smoking a lot of pot?
There's maybe a vape pen or two laying around.
Nice.
Not as much as they used to.
No. Yeah. Now that it's legal, it's not cool anymore.
Yeah, because they're on the medical for my mom's eyes. So ended up. She's like, yeah, I stopped doing it because your dad's smoking all my pot.
For medical
purposes. That was a conversation that I had in the past week with my mother. Yeah, my parents are awesome. So, I did have a chance to. I did go to a comic book shop in Fort Myers. It was a nice shop, and I picked up Rorschach #1 while I was down there.
I read that.
Are we ready to dissect that thing, or just?
I'm having a vodka. I'm drinking two different things.
Oh God, we're double fisting tonight, Tom.
I'm drinking a vodka and lemonade.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this is. And I'm drinking a hard seltzer that I left down here. Just trading off between the two of them,
Yeah, I had a White Claw earlier just to wet my whistle. The mango one. I don't like it as much as the.
For 1 second before we start talking, I forgot my iPad, so I want to go grab it.
Okay, I'll talk to Tom about raising children.
I'll be right back.
Yeah,
Tom, what's it like to raise children?
It's hard.
It's hard.
It's difficult.
You've aged a lot in the last couple of years.
I'm very old now.
Yeah.
I got. You can't actually. My beard is not quite so gray. Is not as gray as you would think it would be.
No,
you gotta get up real close, and you can kind of start seeing the gray.
There's a reason that I shaved my head and I don't have a beard anymore.
It's all gray. It's all gray.
It is all gray.
No, I managed to not. I got a little bit since the pandemic.
You're not brushing the color in yet.
Oh no, no. I got like a little bit here.
How old are your boys?
My son is 7 and my daughter is 4.
You want to say hi, Marta? Marta says hi.
Hi, Marta.
Hi, Marta.
Mm-hmm. So 7 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
Where's my boyfriend Sal?
Sal is getting his iPad. So Marta wants to know where her boyfriend is. So you got him. What? Star Wars now?
Here I am, Marta.
There he
No,
is.
not yet.
We love Star Wars.
Okay.
There he is.
Okay. Say hi.
Hi, Sal.
What's up?
I'm not going to make this any more awkward than it already
I know.
is.
It's getting a little awkward. Marta still wants to do the all wives around comics show.
My wife won't do that.
Oh, my wife would never. What are you going to talk about?
Not us.
No.
Yeah, Tom's like,
Well, I sprained my ankle the other night.
All right, bye.
That was just to make Sal jealous.
I know. Oh, dear.
How'd you sprain your ankle?
Oh, yeah. How'd you sprain your ankle?
So, Friday night, my wife's going to kill me for telling this story, but Friday night, I go to the gym, and I literally am doing jiu-jitsu for 3 hours. Almost entirely straight. Like, I did an hour of rolling, Then I did a class, then another like hour of rowing. I was there from like 5:30 till 8:30. Come home, not a scratch on me. Perfectly fine. Eat some dinner, take a shower, have a couple of cocktails, and then I'm in bed and just fooling around, and I
In bed, fooling around.
somehow I roll off the bed and fall and land on my ankle and sprain my ankle. It was
That's
not
great.
a dismount. I'll just say that it was a
That is a moment of marital bliss that will be talked about for years in your household.
Hurting your ankle.
for about 10 minutes as I clutched my ankle in pain. I thought it might have been broken, and luckily only sprained. But yes, it was. I felt a little foolish.
You should.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So that lived up to all the billing whenever we decided to reschedule. Which, speaking of, for people watching tonight, thanks for doing so. We had to push off a little bit from Sunday to tonight because I was tired. I had
Tired.
yeah.
Sleepy old guy is sometimes you're tired now.
You know, he did 3 hours of jujitsu. I was at the curling club for like 6 hours on Sunday.
Sitting at home with the kids, getting fat, drinking, chasing them,
Chasing the children.
Being the dad, Jim.
being the dad. Yeah.
So Rorschach.
Yeah.
Initial thoughts, reactions.
Certainly a comic book.
It is a comic book. It has words and pictures in it.
What can we all agree on?
That art and lettering.
Yeah.
I mean, first, I think we all agree that Tom King is a pretty good writer. So I came in with the expectation that he was going to approach this with probably an equal amount of reverence, but also not rolling out a prayer mat at the Alan Moore altar. You know, that he was going to do his own thing, and that's kind of whenever and it's the first issue of what is going to be how many issues is this, a 12 issue?
It usually does, but I don't.
Okay.
Hey.
Yeah, I mean it's obviously the first chapter in what's going to be a pretty deep series, but just from the trying to put the Watchmen baggage stuff away. Yeah, I love a good murder mystery, which is kind of how Watchmen started out. So that's kind of cool. So it's going to be the whodunit, and I guess the spoilers here is that Kovac, the original Rorschach, may not have actually died in the original Watchmen. So that's like the big twist, right? Is that he may not have actually been vaporized by Dr. Manhattan. Maybe not.
I hope that's not the case. I really hope.
I everything that we've read that Tom does is that would be the easy plot line, and that's exactly why I don't think that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, I kind of assume that's a red herring.
Yeah, for sure.
Throwing that out there, but yeah, I mean it's an interesting enough story. I think my problem with it is I just don't understand what the point of this is. Like
to sell comic books.
Okay, well,
what?
If that's all it is, though, I mean, I don't know. It just I have a problem.
That's the point of almost all comic books.
Well, it is, but isn't it some of it? Shouldn't some of it be to tell a good story and
well, I think that you can still. I think that you can do both. I mean that's the point of them.
That's the dream.
That's the dream. I mean, we'll see. I mean, this could fall flat. I mean, there's plenty of great creative teams that have put out mediocre stories, but this definitely gave me enough to want to come back for more. Is it necessary? No, but is the last issue of Action Comics necessary?
Yeah, I mean,
no,
it's all right.
necessary. I
Yeah.
guess with this in particular, it's it's such a sort of point of contention with comic book fans and the history of comics and
Yeah.
the idea of
Like Watchmen has like this really weird, almost singular place on like this untouchable mantle, and we've started over the last like 5, 6, 7 years to see that mantle kind of encroached upon with the before Watchmen, and then they do Doomsday Clock and now Rorschach. So we've seen creators who aren't Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons kind of revisiting those characters, which was kind of like sacred ground. And I don't know. That's a good question. Do you think it deserves to be like this revered and like hallowed place that other creators kind of shouldn't be able to wade in those waters?
no, I don't
Mm.
I don't think that it needs to be sort of a sacred cow that can never be touched.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily have a problem with someone using these characters to tell stories with
Mm-hmm.
necessarily. I think what I have a problem with is when it's used in a way that either one is going to potentially diminish the original story or
Mm-hmm.
or try to retell it in some way by telling origin stories
Yeah, retconning Watchmen. I don't. Yeah, it's which I don't. I have a feeling this is not going to try and do that. And nor do I feel like the HBO series tried to retcon Watchmen. It was very much a continuation
I don't know that it
of.
tried to retcon it, but I think it definitely tried to reimagine it in some ways, and it did. I think the Watchmen TV show. I think the problem I have with that is that because it's on HBO and because it got so much buzz, you have so many people that watched it and now think that is what Watchmen is.
Sure. Yeah. Well, it's like Batman fans in the 1960s. It's like the Biff Bang Pow was the only Batman that they had ever been exposed to, so that was Batman. Yeah. So for a lot of people, like the HBO Watchmen series is it.
Yeah, and it doesn't take anything away from the. I've said this many times. Nothing can change the original story. It is what it is.
Yeah,
and that story is always going to exist in that format. Nothing that Tom King is doing necessarily here is going to change anything. Even if he brings Rorschach back from the dead and retells the last page of Watchmen in some other way where Dr. Manhattan doesn't vaporize him and sends him off into whatever. No matter what he does, it doesn't change anything really. I guess the problem I have with it is I think it's a trap. I think what you see in this first issue are these sort of very clever things that Tom's trying to do, whether it's sort of hearken this Rorschach into a Steve Ditko.
Yeah, the Ditko. I mean, that was for people that don't know, they may not have noticed, but for people that know, I mean, the Ditko stuff was pretty thick.
Yeah, and just some of those sort of different things, and it almost becomes like tropey in some ways, because you can't get away from the fact of the effect that Watchmen had and the tricks that Watchmen used that were revolutionary as a comic book tale. So it's very hard to get away from that. But then when you do it, or you attempt to sort of do that same sort of thing, it comes off as sort of cheap. And I think so that's why I mean, like when I say, is this necessary? What is the point of this? Because I think it's a trap. I think working in the Watchmen universe is sort of a trap, because I don't think. Listen, I think Tom King's one of the best comic book writers working today, but you're never going to live up to Watchmen.
It's a probably a lose-lose proposition.
Exactly.
From a critical and fan standpoint. I hope he's getting paid bank on this, because that's he's a working writer.
Sure.
But yeah, it's like you're never going to live up to it, and if you fail at it, you're going to be kind of lambasted for that, but if you even get close to the sun on this one, it's a lose-lose. But I'm sure he approaches that from the standpoint of, I want to tell a good story with these characters, and we'll see. I dug the first issue. I like picking out some of the little nods that were in there, and like I said, Watchmen, one of the things that makes it great is that it operates on a lot of different levels. At surface level, it's a murder mystery, and that's what this is a police investigation to start with.
I was going to say, it's not really a murder mystery.
Well, it's an investigation.
It's a foiled assassination.
Yes, yeah, it's.
It just read very. I mean, I'll keep reading it because I'm slightly intrigued, but it's weird to read a first issue of a comic that doesn't read like a first issue.
Yes,
like doesn't have like that. I mean, that could be a good thing too, because
we'll talk about this one later.
It's first issues. I mean, first issues, they're always exciting because you don't have to answer anything. So it's always like, I can put forward all these questions and you aren't disappointed yet because I haven't answered any of them. And this almost feels like definitely like the first chapter of a book as opposed to like a number one issue of a comic. Good or bad, I don't know. I guess it depends on where the rest of it goes, of like...
There's a certain amount of background that you need to know coming into this to really, I think, really mine it. It's
the thing that I like about a lot of I've been catching up on Adam Strange too, as a different Tom King, Mitch Gerard's book. The thing I like a lot about a lot of his stuff is how ambitious it is, and like it has a very definite viewpoint, or like you can see what it's about quickly. Adam Strange, fairly quickly you understand it's like what the tension in that story is about. Like, here's the all-American hero. It's sort of like he's sort of like a weird version of Captain America, right? Like Adam Strange had to go to a different planet to be a hero, and it's kind of sad that he's constantly trying to like catch these beams to go to this place where he's a hero. Like it's like a certain like weird like in normal circumstances I'm not a hero, but in this place I am a hero. And like what does it mean to be a hero? Like you're somebody, there's this other half of this character's life, and like the things that he's done to be a hero, what does that mean? Like what does it mean to actually be these things, right? And there's an ambition to the story right away. And I guess with this, I was just kind of like, oh, okay. Like I'm not quite sure. It just read very differently to me than a lot of the stuff that I've enjoyed from him. Where kind of early on, you're like, oh, okay. Like not that I know where it's going, but I get like what the ambition is, and like what the like the thing we're talking about is. Because it's like Watchmen, like we talked about that with Doomsday Clock. Like if you're not going to do something ambitious, like then why? Yeah. Then like why tell a Watchmen story? Like what's the purpose?
That's a really good point, because I think if you look at a lot of his other work, there is, he's using very familiar characters, and he sort of, his thing is always he sort of twists what you expect, and he re-examines those characters, whether it's Vision. You sort of, okay, what is it to be an android that wants a family? To be this character that we
the Vision is scary. He is scary. He's scary.
Yeah.
He's like,
oh god, which have you guys watched Raised by Wolves?
Oh, we talked about this last episode.
But it reminds me of the Vision, the stuff I've seen about it, about like the that line of like, I haven't seen any of it yet, but just like some of the things I've read or seen about it, about like, actually, you know, that the line between the Vision being a hero and the Vision being like terrifying is very thin. Like it's like, actually it's fucking creepy that he wants a family.
That Raised by Wolves is very much about that, and sort of, I mean, there's this woman, I think she's like a Swedish actress, and she plays this android character, this mother character, and she's terrifying. I mean, she's absolutely terrifying as she's just trying to emulate a mother, but also this incredibly powerful android. And it's like, even just the way the actress is phenomenal. And
go ahead. There's what I want to ask about another movie along those lines, but go ahead.
The way she, is able to sort of convey this very strained pleasantness. Like it's very much, it's so well done. She does a great job of conveying that, of like, she's trying to be pleasant and almost like a 50s housewife mother character. And then, but you can see like in her eyes, she's this close to destroying everyone that she looks at. You know what I mean? Like there's and she does just an amazing job of it. She's super creepy and terrifying of a character. And it's really good. It's really interesting and weird and very, and so I think you saw that with Vision, and then you know, with Strange, or with Mr. Miracle, it was the same sort of thing. Like, it was this, re-examining this relationship and this identity of this character who was the greatest escape artist the world has ever known. And what does that mean? Like, what, you can't escape life, you can't escape, death, and his relationship with Barda and children and all that kind of thing. And then same with Doctor Strange, or Adam Strange. You have, sort of the classic white hero, Lawrence of Arabia or John Carter of Mars, traveling, to a foreign land and rescuing these people from savages, that kind of thing. And he's
we just did a book of the month on it.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But I don't know the same. Like, I feel that same sort of import with this book so far. And granted, it's one issue.
Yeah.
And it has a lot of baggage attached to it. With me, I mean, I'm a huge Watchmen fan. I'm a huge Alan Moore fan. Watchmen is the Mount Rushmore by itself of mainstream comic books, in my opinion. So anytime you're going to play in that sandbox, it's like you have a lot to live up to. But that's why, once again, it's like it's a trap, because it's like, you kind of know Tom's not going to be able to, he's smart enough to do something different. So now it's just sort of like, okay, what's he going to do that's different? So it's weird. It's a weird way to go into a book, and I'm trying not to. I mean, it was a fine, enjoyable story so far as one issue, but it's like so hard.
It's chapter one.
Head to just read it as a comic book, you just read it as a simple issue of a comic book and judge it in that way. Even like, the art, who I really like, this artist.
Yeah, Jorge Font, yeah.
He's done some Batman stuff, and he's obviously a Mazzucchelli.
There are a lot of Mazzucchelli in there.
A lot of Mazzucchelli. Yeah. And even that sort of is like a weird tie to an era of comics. And I don't know. It's I think it's more me than anything, but it's like, it's so hard for me to not read this with so much attached to it that I don't know that I can ever truly
I'm almost upset that it wasn't released as like a standalone graphic novel, because waiting for this month to month and trying to judge the work by individual pieces is going to be difficult.
Yeah.
But it's funny, because I think that's why, when I watched the first episode of the Watchmen TV show, I was so surprised. And whether, we talked about it before, whether it fulfilled everything it wanted to do. The TV show was ambitious. Like, it was very ambitious. And like, whether you thought they pulled it off, like, you saw like what like their idea was of like, we're gonna use these characters to tell like this story and like this viewpoint. And it was very audacious in like how bold it was, and it's like, this is what this story is about. And like, and I think that's why it grabbed so many people's attention, I think, because the Watchmen is such a trap where it's sort of like the original Watchmen, such like a clear vision by artists of like what they wanted to talk about, right? And like, it's clear and like meticulous, and like every time you read it, you're like, oh yeah, you know, you always find new things in it, but just how clear that the idea was and how executed it was to that idea, and it's like, oh wow, that's amazing. Like that, it's hard to live up to that, right? To like,
oh, yeah,
you're in the shadow of like this extremely incredible thing, right? That like, rarely are there many other comics that are that executed that well to that degree and have such a clear vision.
And it's not even that; it's now the lore of it. Yeah. And Tom won't understand this because he's a Packers fan, but Bears teams have talked about living up to the myth of the 1985 Chicago Bears, and it's like, you know.
I think the Packers might have some legacies.
No, what I'm saying is that he has so many championships to look back upon, as opposed to us lowly Bears fans. That
I mean, like 2 in my lifetime.
Okay,
so 1 more, but both while I was more than I was a legal
12. You weren't 12.
I wasn't 12. No.
Well, I think also, you make a really good point, Tom, about Watchmen being, it's so. I might be using the wrong word, but poignant, in the sense that it tells you, like you said, exactly what it's trying to accomplish in the first issue. By the end of the first issue of Watchmen, you know exactly sort of what that comic is trying to say, or at least what it's proposing. What it is asking you. It doesn't necessarily ever give you that answer. It's asking you to ask the question, though, and that's what I'm not sure.
It's tough.
That's really tough to do. But that's what a really I feel like that's what a really good story. I mean, they always talk about like the first chapter of a book, the first scene of a movie, and everything that I've ever read about storytelling. It's always about like the first scene, the first idea that you present to the to the audience should really sum up your theme of your story in one way or another, and that's what like Watchmen does. That like by the end of it, like the idea is, what is the superhero? You know what I mean? Like that's the question that's being proposed initially, and then you come to this, and it's like, this is Rorschach alive? That's the question you're sort of left with. So it's like, I don't know what this comic is about. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't propose any political questions necessarily. I mean, that stuff is in there. Candidate for presidency, Robert Redford is the liberal president currently. So that stuff is in there, but there's nothing about that in this comic as far as like any sort of.
What is the big question?
Yeah. What is the question in this? What is this proposing to me? What is this asking me to look at as a reader? And that goes back to what we've talked about for the last few weeks of like the perspective of, and I think Tom does this. He usually does this so extremely well in his books. Like, in Adam Strange, by the end of the first issue, you know exactly what he's asking. Is Adam Strange a hero, or is he not? Like that's the mystery we're going to try and figure out.
Well, this. And to that point, this really kind of read like a prologue to me. And so, it's like maybe issue 2 is where that I mean, does that make any sense? This kind of felt like a prologue.
It's also, it just feels like it's written not like a comic book, almost, in a way, where it's sort of like, like I got to the end and I was like, oh, that's the end of the first issue. Like it's like.
By the way, so
not in a bad way. It just was like I got to the end and I was sort of you're used to like the rhythm and pace. Yeah, it's like you're used to the pace of like a comic book where you get to the end of the first issue and it's like, oh, that's and it's like this one. It's like he might be alive, and it's like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. And it's like
I got to the assassination scene, and I flipped the page, and I keep reading, and I'm like, holy fuck, Shazam is in this. And I'm like 3 panels in, I'm just like, oh goddamn, it's a Snickers commercial.
Yeah, you screwed up.
Shazam.
Yeah.
No,
hey, airplane reading, man.
It's still a very good comic. I think I'm just judging it on such a high. Anytime you put Watchmen on the preface of the comic, I'm going to judge it on an extremely high level.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, you know what I mean? Like
it's like Citizen Kane 2.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
The Return. Rosebud's Revenge.
How did Rosebud get built? What happened?
Before Rosebud.
Before
Rosebud.
Before Kane. Yeah. It was one of several books I read. Because I also read Three Jokers, #2.
Yes, let's talk. Which, by the way, Sal and I have completed. I'm throwing you under the bus, Tom. Sal and I have completed our homework. We have both read Batman White Knight. So next week, when Tom is done,
if I knew we were I would have pushed myself to finish it.
You know what? It's a fine wine, man. Just don't chug it. It's all right. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it on Sunday.
Yourself.
Here's what
like 3/4 of the way through.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I can say about Three Jokers #2 is that when you asked me, Chris at the beginning of the show asked me if I read it. I don't.
You said I think so.
I did read it. I did read it. I don't remember that I read it.
It's kind of I have a hard time describing exactly what I truly think about it. Because I read it and I'm kind of like, it is kind of unintentionally funny.
Some of it can be.
Where it's like Batman's got the 2 file folders. One's like missing clowns and one's like missing criminals. And I was like, what the fuck? How can you look at that panel and not think it's a joke? It's like, yes, I have to cross-reference my missing clowns file, but missing criminals file.
Because if anyone has that, it's Batman, right?
There's also like this crazy thing where I'm like, is anyone going to explain to me the difference between the 3 Jokers before we get done? Like,
thank you,
like,
thank you. I'm just like, they're all the same goddamn Joker.
Like, I still don't know why.
It's like what would have been. I would have loved this so much more if there was a fucking Cesar Romero in there. You know, it's like, give me Joker. 3 Jokers, because these are all the same ass Joker.
The art's great again.
Oh, Fabic's awesome.
Like, the art's great, but like the story itself is so strange. Yeah. And I'm like, am I missing something? I'm
not the only one that's like, I can't really tell the Jokers apart.
Or I'm also like I feel like I missed a chapter where I'm supposed to know the difference between the clown and the comedian.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm sure I kind of get maybe what the criminal is, but I'll be honest, clown and comedian's a pretty thin line for me to be like.
Yeah.
And it's like
I'm trying to look. I think what he's doing is like the clown is sort of the original Joker, and then the comedian is the Alan Moore because he was a stand-up comedian.
Okay.
And they've mentioned that, they've referenced that he was a failed. But then the criminal is like, when is that?
He's just the one that killed Jason Todd, right?
But is he? Because I had a hard time figuring out which one. This, to me, is like the thing about this story that's kind of crazy is like the idea like there's 3 Jokers, and we've skipped the part where you're like, these are the three Jokers, and we're now getting to like the conclusion of the three Jokers without any of the stuff that's like.
There's just three of them. Well, one of them's dead now, so there's really only two.
Dead now, so there's two.
I think you've really hit on the problem with this is that the entire story is just, when are we going to get to the point where you reveal why the fuck there are three
Jokers? Why are there three, and what's the difference?
Yeah. Once it's done, I think the story's over. It's like, that's the whole point of it, I guess. I don't.
And it almost reminds me of like a weird Frank Miller story, where like, right where it's like
takes himself a little too seriously.
But so seriously that it's almost goofy, where it's almost like, what, is this for real? Batman's got a file about missing clowns, like he's just like got them both open, or like, we're gonna make Jason Todd the third Joker. No, we're not. Actually, that's not gonna happen. Spending all this, like, it's just so. It's
weird. It's a weird book.
Weird story.
Yeah, it's a really weird. I did like the character moments with Barbara and Jason. I thought those were nice. It's Jason Todd kind of seems to be the central character in this in a lot of ways.
Sure.
Does the world need another Jason Todd redemption story? But that kind of seems to be where we're going.
I guess. Who knows?
So,
maybe we'll find out there's three Jason Todds.
That would be wild.
One for each Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm kind of assuming there's Barbara's going to have a larger part later on, and that'll be more about the comedian. Well, no, he's dead, right? Wait. See, I can't even.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one.
Yeah. The next episode will probably be about Barbara coming to terms with,
how many issues is this?
I would imagine 3 would make sense, right? I mean, well, that's the thing. It's like, did this second issue read like a, second act?
The middle? I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
I don't know.
I'm like,
if they had killed another Joker, I'd be like, all right, one to go.
I guess
got to be the next
one. Yeah, I would have
one more issue.
This is the structure. We're killing one an issue.
Yeah. It's
because we're murdering a Joker every time we.
Well, this is the sad, sick part of being a comic book fan is that I'll buy the next one out of morbid curiosity, but also because of Fabic's art, because it is still fucking pretty to look at.
I just want to know what this weird ass story.
What is this about?
What is happening in this? Or it's like, we're gonna get Joe Chill in this too. Is this like a weird?
Oh god, yeah, that
Jeff John's like fever dream? Like, I'm gonna get everything in.
Was it like when Batman went to like confront Joe Chill, and he like had the moment where he had to like clear his throat so that he wouldn't talk to him. Like, it's like, really at this point, Batman's like intimidated by like a 70-year-old Joe Chill. Like, he can't.
That's the part that made me feel like this is a weird Frank Miller
yeah, unintentionally funny.
Like, just this, like, wait, what? What are we doing? Like, we need to talk now. It's like,
I think that like Snyder has sort of like gotten to the point where every time he writes something, it has to.
But he didn't write this.
Who wrote it?
Jeff Johns.
What? This is Jeff Johns?
Yeah.
I thought this was Scott Snyder.
No.
Oh Christ! What are you doing, John? Stay away from Batman. You suck at Batman, dude. Like I thought this was.
You thought it was Scott Snyder. That's hilarious.
This is really bad, man. This is worse than I thought.
That's hilarious.
This is I'm gonna read the next one because I'm like, what's gonna happen?
It's almost morbid curiosity at this point, but I can't say I hate it. It is morbid curiosity. It's kind of like watching Below Deck.
I mean, it's insane. I mean, I'm just flipping through it. The missing clowns, missing criminals. I was like, for real? That's the criminal.
Put that in there.
The clown. The comedian. Interesting.
Yeah.
Criminal.
Did we talk about this last week? Speaking of Scott Snyder?
We did.
We did? It's awesome.
Well, I know we touched on it. I don't know. Did we talk about it?
I don't know. Have you guys read the new American Vampire? Are you guys? First of all, I don't even know if we've talked about. Are you guys American Vampire fans?
I've read some of it. I haven't read.
Me too.
All of American Vampire stuff.
Yeah, it's like in my top 3 last 15-year, ongoing series. I thought it was, it's damn near a perfect comic for me from beginning to end. And this 1976 is just a nice continuation
Perfection.
of it. Well, it's there are 8 volumes of the series, and they've taken a good healthy time off. And it's the thing about this is that you can slot in stories or extend them because they're immortal or they're vampires. So yeah,
convenient,
just awesome. Yeah, so I mean they can kind of keep going however long they want.
Not a TV show yet. That's what I don't understand. Like it seems
God, it's such a perfect TV show.
Yeah, I don't understand how somebody has not made that into a TV show because it just seems like it would make so much sense because you could do any era. You could, I mean, like you have so much freedom episode to episode to sort of jump around and do it, whatever you want, and yet still have a thread running through it. Yeah, it just seems like a
tailor made. Yeah, I'm still shocked that Scalped isn't a TV show. Well, I'm sure it's been talked about and thrown around out there.
I think that's a touchy one, maybe.
Oh, okay.
In this day and age, might be a difficult production.
Oh, I can see that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Didn't they make a pilot of it?
Did they?
I think it was out there. I think it was optioned at one point. It may have even gotten to a pilot point.
Yeah, for WGN.
Oh,
really? Developed by Jeff Johnson.
WGN the national GN.
Yeah. Oh,
because they had been doing a lot of original content.
No, they passed on it. This is in 2017.
Okay, so not that long ago. I did finish Cobra Kai season 2.
Ooh.
You're right, Sal. They broke my fucking heart.
I told you they would.
They broke my heart. Why you got that last episode was a little bit of a bummer. So apparently January, it's a new season. Hopefully, is what I've heard.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how any of it's getting done.
I need to know what happens to Miguel.
TV at some point. We're gonna run out of TV at some point.
Yeah, then it's just gonna be all garbage reruns.
Tyler. It's just gonna be what's his name? Tyler. I can't think of the guy's name. The guy who does all the. Oh God, what's his name?
Medea.
Yeah, it's just gonna be because somehow he just made his own production studio lot where he can just film all.
He can make 12 movies a year.
Yeah, so he's got it all quarantined, and so that's all we're gonna have. Anything he comes up with. Did you guys read? There was an Image book that came out. I think it was last week called "The Department of Truth." Written by James Tinian IV. With art by Martin Simmons. Did I read it? No,
I did not. It sounds cool though.
Really good. It was a really interesting book. It was very much about conspiracy theories, but in a sort of X-File-y, fictional way. The first issue deals a lot with the Kennedy assassination. And I don't want to give a lot of it away because it's a lot of it is sort of like surprise mysteries things, but it's about a guy who kind of gets wrapped up in a conspiracy, and then he ends up working for this agency whose job is to basically enforce the truth, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
The truth is kind of malleable, which is a really interesting, concept in this day and age.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is more
alternative facts.
Well, but in a like, think of it in sort of a science fiction way, where like the more people believe something, the more it's true.
Where perception actually does become reality.
Yeah. Perception actually becomes reality, so they have to fix reality sometimes, or make the truth. They have to enforce the truth, which I think is a really interesting concept for a book.
That is a very neat concept.
Yeah, it's really good. The first issue was really interesting, really entertaining. The art was really good. It's kind of a little Bill Sienkiewicz-y, a little like what's the guy that did 30 Days a Night?
Temple Smith.
Little Temple Smithy.
Mm-hmm.
Really good though, like really like a little combination like Sienkiewicz and Temple Smith. So it has that like painterly, but a lot of white, a lot of scratchiness and that kind of thing. Yeah, it was cool. It was a really, I would suggest picking it up. It was a very cool first issue.
Okay.
And an interesting concept. And the main character is kind of a guy thrown into this world accidentally, and I think he's like a professor or something. But it was interesting because they, throughout the whole thing, they play with different conspiracies, and they kind of reveal that some things were real and some things were faked, and twist and play with that thing throughout the whole book. So it's pretty fun, but it has a kind of an X-Files feel to it too, to some degree. Because
that art style would fit with that.
Yeah,
really well.
It works pretty well.
It's I think like what was that series a few years ago, The Green Wake, kind of had that feel to it. And I'm trying to think.
I don't remember.
It's right here
pretty cool book. Pretty interesting book. I'm looking forward to the second issue for sure.
Cool. Did you guys check out Cable #1?
No, I didn't.
Can't say that I did.
Really good.
Yeah,
I enjoyed the hell out of it. It's normally I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole, but it's written by Jerry Duggan with Phil Noto art, and they've done projects together before that I realized. They did what, Infinite Horizon? Was that the Jerry Duggan Phil Noto book several years ago, before they both kind of went off and did some other higher profile projects. So I always liked them as a team, and so I'm just like, for Jerry and Phil, I'll try this one out. It's funny. It is. I have no idea about X-Men continuity right now, of what the hell is going on. I haven't caught up. Huh?
No one does.
All right. It's so apparently this is Teenage Cable. So, and I didn't know that Teenage Cable was a thing in the X-verse right now, but apparently it is. So this is Teenage Cable in the current X-verse on Krakoa, and it kind of reads like a Saved by the Bell with Cable and his ex-friends getting into trouble. So there's a little bit of a New Mutants vibe to it, but Cable is kind of like the big man on campus. He says, I've got a double date, and what he means is that he's actually going on a date with I think it's Pixie and it's Jubilee or someone like that. So he's dating two girls at the same time on the same date, kind of high school jock thing. And he's Johnny from Cobra Kai. fighting Wolverine in the arena, the mutant arena in Krakoa, and then
the Quarry, I believe.
the Quarry, and then one of the younger mutants there on the island comes up to him and it's like, hey, me and my friend were out running around and he went somewhere he's not supposed to because of this island of monsters, and I need you to go find him. And so it's about them going and finding this other mutant. And I'll get a little spoilerific on you. All of a sudden, there are space knights, like from Rom, the Space Knight. And so the Space Knights are going to be a part of this series. And I was sitting there, Marta is watching, TV, and I'm like, fuck yeah! And she's like, what? I'm just like, honey, Space Knights. And she's like, I don't know what that is. I was like, Rom? You don't know who Rom is? And she's like, I have no idea what these words that are coming
Google.
out of your mouth.
Hey, Google, look up divorce attorneys. Space Knight.
So you've got like young young buck on campus, big man on campus, teenage Cable with his ex friends, and they're gonna be either fighting or teaming up with, we don't know yet, Space Knights. So it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the heck out of it.
I'm interested now to go back and read and start reading the New Mutants stuff after. Tom, you talked about that last week, and then now this, so it sounds fun.
Cable. And I have no idea where young Cable came from.
I don't know. Teenage Cable sounds like it should be a punk band.
Teenage Cable.
Yeah.
I told Marta about our men's romance novel podcast idea of bulging trousers. And she's like, that's amazing, and you absolutely need to do that. I'm just like,
how do we do that? What do we have to do to make
we have to read romance novels and talk about them.
God.
And I was like, I don't think that's going to happen, honey.
Really? People do not want me to ruin romance novels for them on a weekly basis. It's bad enough I shit on comics on a weekly basis.
Yeah, I don't have time to read romance novels. My wife, on the other hand, can read copious amounts of this stuff. She's like, I just read a 300-page novel I didn't like just because I'm sitting in on a live cast of an author I like. I'm just like, you dedicated that much time for something that you didn't like?
I just read like 22-page stories.
Exactly.
I just read 3 Jokers and get to the end, and I'm like, oh, what's happening?
What happened? I don't understand this.
How long does it take you guys to read a 22-page comic?
Depends on how much I get interrupted.
How long?
I try not to read them as fast as I possibly can.
Me too.
Because it's like, okay, this thing cost me, $4 or $5 or whatever it is. Somewhere in between, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, half hour ish. So I'll really kind of try and, actually enjoy it.
You're really savoring it.
Well, this is also, being interrupted, going and, getting a cup of tea, coming back to
stretching out.
Yeah.
Getting your blankets and your shawls.
Gotta light some candles. No, I'd say, yeah, probably 20 minutes a comic I try and spend.
I think it's like 15. I don't know. I guess I'll pay attention next time and see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't put a stopwatch on it.
No, me either. I kind of pay attention, but not really. But I'm like you. Like I try and actually slow myself down to.
I saw you read an issue of The Walking Dead by my desk whenever we worked together, and you read that thing in like 90 seconds. You're like, yeah, this is trash.
I mean, it doesn't take me that long. Oh, somehow Tom got muted. What happened? Hold on, Tom. I muted you.
Tom.
Oh, you muted yourself, Tom. Now what is Tom doing? There he is.
My wireless headphones died.
Oh, okay.
What happened?
Tom has muted himself.
I do have a bad habit sometimes of reading books. If I really don't, like if I'm not interested in the art, I will just breeze through I'll take a general snapshot of the page and then I'll just read the dialogue and move on to the next page. Like I don't even pay attention to the page.
You are cliff noting your comics.
But if it's like Batman White Knight, not that we're not to talk about.
Yeah, you kind of need to pay attention to some
well,
stuff.
not only that, but he's such a good artist that it's I can get lost in a page and just be like, oh, look at that,
I love how he draws noses,
Yeah, it's like especially that dude likes to draw cars. Like he fucking draws some cars, man, and it's just. I mean, it all depends on if I like the art or not. Because if I like the art, I can sit there and study. I'll sit there and study how someone is, using the shading, the cross hatching, the way that they, use it to define a muscle. Like Sean Murphy. I'll study his way of shading for a while, but yeah, there's times where I'm just breezing through a comic in 2 minutes, just this art's garbage. This is
book sucks.
The Three Jokers. I probably that art was good, but the story not so good.
Yeah, well, I'm morbid curiosity. I'm gonna hang with it.
You're gonna find out there's a fourth Joker.
The fourth. That's the big twist, Tom. That's the fourth issue.
Whoa. Three Jokers, number 4.
If that ends up being the truth, I don't know what I'll do.
Fourth Joker.
The fourth Joker.
The accountant.
That's when it will be Jason Todd.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Damien. Who knows?
It's gonna have to be something with a C because it's comedian, clown, and
known and criminal.
So the
cook.
The cook.
The cook.
He's just in the back with an apron on.
The chief.
The chief. Hey, chief.
It's Gordon.
The chief from Doom Patrol.
Gordon. He's the commissioner.
Oh man, I hope it is that. Because that would just be like, what the fuck?
If we call that, that's hilarious.
The commissioner's the fourth one.
Mm-hmm. I know you guys aren't reading it. I don't think Lock and Key, the new little mini series in Pale Battalions Go Lock and Key. Nice twisty.
Oh, we're on a fucking flight this week.
I know. I'm just saying it's good. Pick it up when it comes out, or hoopla it whenever it's collected, or whatever. But a nice twist in this one that I didn't see coming. And I picked up the this collection because I wanted to refresh. I hadn't gotten the Heaven and Earth, which was a lot of the little one-shot minis that they put out, which the family that are in this in Pale Battalions are referenced in that. It's all legacy families. So so Lock and Key is still good. I enjoy it. And I think there's been a stand-in artist on a couple one-shots, but it's really been Gabriel Rodriguez from the very beginning. All of the core stories, he's been the artist on.
I like the TV show.
I didn't get past the second episode. I may revisit, but it's just one of those that I started and I was just like, I for whatever reason stopped watching it. Was it good? Did it finish up all right?
I don't remember.
See? See? Did you read Three Jokers this week, Sal?
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
How did you break your ankle?
The fourth Joker's in here. Your heart.
Joker's in my heart.
Yeah. The third Joker is the friends we made along the way.
Why is there only one set of footprints? Because that's when the Joker carried you.
That's when the criminal carried me. Not the comedian or the clown.
Hey, who's got the next pick of Book of the?
Yeah, who's got next? Is it me?
Tom does.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was Starlight before this.
Yeah.
Oh,
3 Jokers. We're gonna read
hardcover
edition. We're gonna dive deep into this story.
I have my next one. I think.
Save it.
Yeah. Okay.
Just tuck it away. Put it away in that
Tuck it.
That special place.
Although I wouldn't be surprised if Tom picks it.
Really?
Because it's on Hoopla and it just.
Oh, it just dropped on the Hoopla?
Oh, let me see what's new. I'll check with you first. I don't want to.
No unveiling until after we talk about White Knight.
Next thing, yeah. Well, no, I know. I respect the pick of the season too much to
the format.
It's our winner book.
It's our winner book.
Protocol.
Yeah, I'm not interested. I don't want to ruin.
Yeah. Anybody's kids trick or treating this year? Speaking of the season.
Well, my kids are a little old. My son probably will be running around tricking.
Yeah. Egging houses. But it's like that toilet paper. That's a commodity product now. You got to be careful with that.
Yeah. We're not throwing toilet paper around.
That shit is precious.
We were invited to a party, but I'm not sure we're gonna go or not. Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Right? We're in a pandemic.
It'll be all over by then, won't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any day now.
Yeah. I'm just tired of hearing about it. Everybody's tired of hearing about it. Yeah, no shit. 2 weeks, boys. 2 weeks. No, a few other things, but I'm gonna hold on to them because I got a busy weekend. I may not be able to read too much. It's curling season now, so got and I am the new member chair at the curling club, so I've got big responsibilities. And so,
you get like a robe with that or something? Crown?
A wand. I get a wand. So.
And brush. You get a
crown.
Yeah, it's a special broom. Yeah, that's been wild. I had my first game of the season last night, and we're all distanced and wearing masks and rule changes and all that stuff. So, yeah, it's all kind of weird, but yeah, it's nice to be out.
How do you distance? You guys got to all be there with the brooms, like
one sweeper.
Oh,
yeah, wow. One sweeper. It's tough.
Changes the game.
It does. It does change the game. So, but yeah, we soldiered on. So, yeah, it was nice to get out on the ice, though. I enjoyed it. It's good to get out of the house. So, no broom stacking afterwards, though. No hanging around and drinking beers and talking about life. So, yeah,
this is getting depressing.
It is. It is.
It's done.
Yep.
Over.
Yep. Let's wrap it up. Okay. So anyway, we will be talking. Let's go over some. Oh, we got business.
I got an email.
Oh, you got an email. Okay.
Yeah, I got a listener email. It's a kind of a long one, but
all right.
All right. So this is from Matt. He said,
"Hi, Matt.
Hi, Chris, Sal, and Tom. I've just recently reconnected with your podcast after many years of being away from comics. I got into comics back in 2008 and started listening to you guys a few years or so after that. It has been a long time, so my memory is a bit fuzzy, but remember getting...
Isn't it all, for all of us?
But I remember getting into...
Sal can't even remember if he read 3 Jokers.
I remember getting into so many great comics at that time because of you all. I still have an original page from Fear Agent that I bought.
Oh.
You guys got me into that series.
Nice.
I took a long break from comics because I was away from North America for almost a decade.
Oh, wow.
I got back to Canada a few months ago, and I've been getting back into comics again. Just out of curiosity, I searched the comics podcast and a recognizable name popped up, Around Comics. I couldn't believe you guys were still at it. I've been working my way.
You missed some away time, Matt.
Fine.
Yep. Every week, like clockwork, 15 years, bud.
I've been working my way back through your stuff, and I'm loving it all. The pulp recommendation was fantastic, by the way. You guys also introduced me to TKO. I was a bit apprehensive about ordering some of their books because of international shipping costs, but I took the chance. Hopefully, they'll be arriving soon.
And Trucker Comics.
Trucker Comics.
I saw some trucker stuff that we got to talk about next week. It's. I think they stole our idea.
Oh, those bastards.
Yeah.
Us too? They took. Oh no!
There is a new serial killer trucker series coming to like ABC or something like that. I shit you not. I shit you not.
We're trendsetters.
Well, technically we're not, but we just talked about it. Sorry, go ahead.
I also had a question maybe you could talk about in the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I went into my LCS yesterday with the intention of only getting one hardcover. But of course, I started browsing around and noticed some other stuff I'd not heard about. I saw Cruel Summer by Brubaker and Phillips and the Royal City by Lemire. I've gotten to the point, both Brubaker and Lemire, that if I see something from them, I just grab it without questioning it.
Yep.
I know I'll never be disappointed. So I was wondering, who are some writers that guys will always automatically buy a book from outside of the obvious writers like mine? Would especially love to hear about some writers that have been really doing well over the last 5 or 6 years since I'm so unfamiliar with those comics.
Mm-hmm.
I also wanted to write in just to say that I appreciate all the stuff you guys do. I know when I first started out in the hobby, your recommendations definitely put me on the path of some excellent comics that shaped my appreciation for the hobby. I hope all of you and your families are keeping well during these crazy times. Sincerely, Matt C.
That's awesome. That's a great email. It's the best email we've had since the relaunch. Dare I say. Yeah. That's awesome. One guy who I actually have not read, but I keep getting recommendations on. No, more recent, and it's probably a blind spot of mine, is Donnie Cates.
Donnie Cates. I like Donnie Cates. I don't love his Marvel stuff so much. Oh, some of it's okay, but I really like his independent stuff that he's done.
Yeah, Donnie Cates keeps getting recommended to me, so I'm gonna have to seek some of that. What's his independent stuff?
Redneck is a vampire book that he did. That's good. What's the one?
I have heard that people like his Thor, which I'm like coming off of Jason Aaron. That's
Well, he's very good. He's a very visceral writer.
Okay.
His stuff is very powerful, and like he writes like I wouldn't call it really cerebral stuff necessarily. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that in a bad way. I just think he's more about like big bang badass.
Yeah, well, it's like Mark Miller. It's not as I don't see his stuff as cerebral, but it's incredibly entertaining. Yes.
And I think Cates kind of fits that mold, certainly. He did there's another book he did that I really loved. I think it was just a 4-issue series. It's like, what the hell is it called? I can't think of the name of it. It's something about a god, or like, it's not Last God, because that's a different book. Damn it. I can't think of the what is it called? I'm going to look it up just because I really want to know. His Cosmic Ghost Rider stuff is pretty good from Marvel. Let me see here. What did he do?
Yeah, I don't know. Tom, what's this guy you or gal?
I'm pretty basic. I like Tom King. I mean, it's not a secret one, but that's
Tom King in the last 5 years. Yeah, Tom's got to be on that list.
Let's give it a shot.
God Country.
I remember that.
Yeah,
Tom King also always works with great artists too, so it's always like
that
it
doesn't hurt.
It's gonna look fucking tight. It's always worth reading. I've liked some things better than others, but I've never been bored of anything. So
I think for Sal, you'd probably pick up anything that Al Ewing writes right now.
I think Al Ewing is definitely a guy. I think after his Wonder Woman Dead Earth, Daniel Warren Thompson, I think.
I finally finished that. So good, man. It's so good. It's to the point that when they come out with a hardcover of that, I may have to double dip. It was... I will reread that story several times.
Trying to think of who else. I mean...
I like the Weatherman makes from on the art side. I'm always going to seek out anything that Nathan Fox does.
Yeah, for sure.
If we're talking Young Guns, that kind of stuff. Even though Nathan's been around for a day or two, but I think a guy that's probably underappreciated out there because this stuff is awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know who else yet. I mean, there's some young dudes that I think are doing some pretty good stuff, but I don't know. Well, Tinian, I think, not that he's young. I don't know how old he is, but I think he does some really good stuff. I think he's got a series at Boom called "Something Is Killing the Children" that's pretty good. He's got that book that I just talked about today. I think his run on Detective Comics was really good. I think he's probably one of those guys that's like on the precipice.
I saw today old friend who's getting ready to do his first Marvel work. You saw there's a new Immortal Iron Fist miniseries coming out, drawn by one Mr. Dave Wachter.
Oh, no kidding.
Yep.
Oh, good for Dave.
Yep,
that's cool.
Super happy, super thrilled for him.
Dave's a guy. He's a curmudgeon-y fucker, but you gotta love him.
Yep.
Although ever since he's been married, he's kind of
he's lost the curmudgeon.
A little bit.
Yeah.
He's a little too fucking happy,
Yeah, I don't know.
No, good for him. That's awesome.
We need to tear him down now.
Yeah.
We need to steal some of that joy from his life.
You're right.
So I'm looking forward to that. I think he said with COVID, they were ready to announce it like 5 months ago, and so they've been sitting on it.
Oh.
Yeah, I think he's all done with it too.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a few. Definitely. I think. I like Tom Taylor. He's a guy that's been doing stuff for a while, but I think he's kind of getting more and more mainstream stuff now. Yeah, there's a tons of good.
Yeah,
guys.
there's always new talent out there. That's part of the grind of the industry. So it's I hear this Garth Ennis guy is pretty good.
Alan Moore.
I'll tell you that a guy that I used to not really be a fan of, who I have become a fan of his work. I think he's really turned into quite a good writer. Is Chip Zadarski.
Yeah.
I don't know that I was really much of a fan of his stuff early on, but I think he's sort of evolved as a writer, and I like a lot of his stuff that he's done over the last few years.
Nice. Yeah, it's weird because that was kind of the bread and butter of AC back in 06, 08, 09. Because they were the interviews that we could get, quite honestly, were the guys honestly they were the guys that were coming up and needing to pimp their work, and the Remenders and Jason Aaron and Fraction and Cullen Bunn and all of those that kind of era of up and coming guys, and now you look and they're kind of viewed as the almost veterans of the industry now. And so it's like, so it's easy for me to say, pick up anything that Jeff Lemire writes. It's going to be good. Or this Brubaker guy. And so, I mean, those are still the folks that I seek out, and they're still producing work. There's probably a little bit of a blind spot for me for for some of the newer creators. So I got to check out. It's definitely Cates is the one that keeps getting suggested to me.
I do have another email.
Mm-hmm.
This one's not really a listener email necessarily, but I thought the information in it was kind of funny.
Okay.
Interesting. This is from Carlos, and he said, "Hey, how's it going? Hope all is well. I have some cool information that might interest you.
Yeah.
Lay it on me, Carlos.
Your podcast, Around Comics, the Comic Book Show, has good performance in some rankings. We are position 121 in the category Books in Spain, position 142 in the category Books in Portugal, position
Wow.
150 in the category Books in the Netherlands, and position 180 in the category Arts in Australia.
Yes.
We're
If you want
moving up.
Iberian
We're moving up,
Peninsula.
boys.
It was a sale, like some sort of
Sure.
podcast.
Thank
But I just
you,
thought that was kind of like,
Portugal.
oh, okay, I
Yeah.
guess we're doing okay in Spain and Portugal.
Thank
Nice.
you, Portugal. Thank you so much.
Yes. Hello, Portugal.
Hello, Portugal. Hello, Spain. Let's get up. Hit subscribe.
Comments below.
Tell your Portuguese friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, please
What's-
subscribe.
Which, speaking of, there's lots of we'll do the last bit of business here. There's lots of ways to listen or watch. We this is a video podcast, but we also release this as an audio show, so you can watch this usually weekly about 8 o'clock Central Standard Time on YouTube and Periscope and Facebook and all that, and then it's released for all your regular podcast catchers. You can email the show just like those two folks did. You can tell us how we're doing in such countries as Bolivia, maybe Turkey,
Belarus.
Belarus.
Yes, Libya. You can email us at info@aroundcomics.com. You can hit us up on the Twitters at aroundcomics. Still no TikTok?
Not yet.
Still no TikTok. Okay. All right.
No.
We're working on it. We'll get there.
TikTok, you got to do it.
Okay. We'll get there. We'll get there at some point. We got swag. You want to put the t-shirt on Tom?
I'd love to. Let's see. Here we go. Oh,
Yep, go to aroundcomics.com /shop, and you can get a wonderful Around Comics paper and pencil and pen and ink shirt. So what that says?
it is.
Okay, well, there you go.
Pencils and pen.
And Around Comics coffee mug, any of that stuff that would help us out. Yeah, so that's what I got. Love to hear from you. Chime in during the live broadcast. Shoot us emails. Talk with us. Send us recommendations. Tell us who your can't miss creators are right now. I'd love to. You return the favor. You tell us.
Certified
reading.
can't miss.
Yeah.
Boom.
Give us recommendations. I
Hot.
want to hear them.
I want your hot takes.
All right.
Yeah. Give us your hottest
So
takes.
get your hot takes in by Sunday.
Yeah.
That's the next
Well,
time we
it's-
record. We're going to be talking about Batman, White Knight, our bookish
Well,
of the
it's-
monthish.
I kind of like Tuesday nights, though.
I'm fine with Tuesday. I don't curl on Tuesdays. That's fine.
Tell us what the difference between the three Jokers are.
Please.
Can you break it down for me?
Please. Please.
What? Which one did they kill?
Yeah.
Someone
Let us-
tell Scott Snyder I apologize. I thought you wrote the three Jokers.
It's like, man, Scott's really lost a step here. All right.
What is
Well-
happening?
Well, we'll be talking about that on Sunday or Tuesday or whatever night we decide to record. And in the meantime,
In between time.
we'll be everywhere in
Hey!
and around comics.
Comics.
Yay.
Comics. Comics. Comics.
Yay.